By the 1200s, the Mali Empire was known across the medieval world for a single, defining characteristic: a seemingly infinite supply of gold. To export all that wealth, merchants organized massive trade networks, driving caravans across the Sahara Desert through brutal, unforgiving terrain. The profits from those routes funded monumental urban centers, proving the empire was a highly developed, densely populated civilization capable of massive architectural achievements. But a civilization cannot eat metal. Sustaining massive populations and sprawling cities requires millions of calories, and they were attempting to do it in a region defined by extreme environmental limits. This chart shows the historical precipitation cycle of the Sahel region. You can see a prolonged, flatline dry period spanning most of the year, followed immediately by an aggressive, destructive spike of seasonal rainfall. Maintaining a standing army or operating massive mining operations requires a massive caloric surplus. The people pulling gold out of the ground cannot also be growing their own food. If you try to rely on traditional, passive farming in a climate that swings so violently between drought and deluge, your crops will either wither in the sun or wash away in the floods. To survive, the empire built a hidden societal engine. They developed a way to produce calories on demand, shifting the burden of their survival from the famous merchants to a group of people rarely mentioned in the histories. These were the hydraulic engineers of the medieval era. Operating as a state-sponsored collective, they formed the true backbone of the Mali Empire. During the peak of the wet season, the Niger River swells violently. Left unmanaged, it overwhelms its banks and inundates the surrounding land, bringing destruction. This map of the inland Niger Delta highlights natural basin depressions off the main river artery. Engineers cut channels to divert the surge into these holding zones, trapping the volume before it could drain back. By doing this, they took a chaotic, seasonal deluge and turned it into a highly controlled, highly predictable asset. The empire's footprint expanded along these managed flood zones, integrating residential settlements directly into the hydraulic grid. This cross-section datagram shows how their controlled irrigation worked. During the prolonged dry seasons, they would carefully release the trapped basin water by opening specific gates, feeding it back down into the parched, terraced fields. This continuous access to water meant they could plant and harvest multiple crop cycles within a single calendar year, regardless of the rainfall. Executing this required extreme centralization. Individual farmers working isolated plots could not build or synchronize a sprawling water grid. It demanded top-down state coordination. It also demanded grueling physical labor. The river carries heavy sediment, meaning workers constantly battled silting and soil erosion to keep the canals flowing. The result was a sprawling water grid that effectively drought-proofed the empire's core, achieving a level of agricultural stability unique for that era. This chart illustrates the demographic tipping point. Because the engineers secured a massive food surplus, you can see the percentage of subsistence farmers drop, corresponding exactly with a massive spike in a specialized workforce. With a large percentage of the population completely freed from daily farming, the state could redirect its human capital. This labor force became the empire's famous scholars, its massive standing armies, and its merchants. Even the famous gold miners could only operate their deep shafts because the state's hydraulic infrastructure fed them from miles away. The kings and their legendary trade routes were completely reliant on the invisible water engineers working in the mud. The lasting legacy of the Mali Empire proves that a civilization's wealth is not found in its faults. It is built, maintained, and secured by its hidden infrastructure.